Okay, so we can imagine life as a video game. The game's not going well. We're getting angry, we're getting frustrated, we're ready to rage quit, ready to throw our controller. We're like, fuck this. We hit the reset button. Let's start over. Hold on. Hit that reset button. We got a fresh game. The game is just loaded up. First impressions is what is this chaotic, confusing, conscious experience of reality? Nightmare. Just like any newborn, everyone comes into this world screaming and crying and kicking and confused and like, yeah, it's painful and confusing and what is reality? That's like where my headspace is at these days. That's what my previous video was about. Today's video is where do we go from there? The next step, the one thing that I can know for sure is the one rule I'm applying to myself for this experiment. So if you press the reset button on life, yes, I dug this out of the basement just for that one little visual. But yeah, you press the reset button and it's like, okay, now what? You play the game again, you get frustrated again, you rage quit again, you press the button again, you end up in this cycle. No good. We don't like that. We don't want that. So you have to give yourself a goal or a rule or something. Like, what's going to make this time around different? And so I am taking this concept of pressing the reset button on life, and this time I'm giving myself one rule, which is question everything. Why that rule? I'm glad you asked. Maybe this intro has gone on a bit too long, but oh well. I don't expect you to read that, but I will read it. First thing, there's basically there's two concepts here. One is objective of truth necessitates itself. So objective truth being this hypothetical concept that there is something out there that is true no matter what. Doesn't matter what I think, doesn't matter if it's being perceived or not. It's like this thing just is true in and of itself, regardless of anything else. And then subjective truth being truth, like whether or not this is true is subjective, is subjected to something else. Like, if this is true, then this can be true, or if this is true, then this isn't true. But regardless of like whether or not this is true is not self-defined. It's dependent upon something else. Subjective truth. So if there is a world in which there is no objective truth, in that hypothetical world in which there is no objective truth, it would then be objectively true that there's no objective truth, which negates itself. It's like it doesn't, it self-contradicts itself. So a world in which there is no objective truth cannot exist. It collapses on itself. Assuming that logic is valid. That's a whole different thing. I haven't dove into it all. Hold on, let me write that down. Assuming logic is valid. That's a whole nother mess that I don't necessarily have the capacity to be diving into right now. But objective truth has to exist. And then whether or not subjective truth exists is a whole different debate. Personal truth definitely exists. Like, I like strawberry ice cream. I don't like mint ice cream. That's a personal truth. Doesn't really matter. It's inconsequential. But anyways, objective truth must exist. a world without it just doesn't work, at least within the confines of logic, and that's assuming that the logic is valid, and that's something that I haven't dove into at all. That's a base assumption that I still have, that I haven't taken the time to question yet, which is a very good thing for me to be aware of. The fact that I need to question that, and I haven't yet. So why question everything? If something is true, then I should be willing and able to suspend my belief, or if this thing is not true, and I don't believe in this thing, I should be willing and able to suspend my disbelief, either way, because I should be willing to consider any and all possible alternatives, because whatever's true will hold up to scrutiny, right? If I truly believe in this thing, I would be willing to consider all possible alternatives, and there's three things that could happen. Either there's no evidence for any of these things, and I determine that this must be true, and I come back to my truth. Cool, good, awesome. Or I discover, hold up, this thing actually is more likely true than this, and now I'm like, sweet, let me change my mind, and now this thing is true. Sweet, awesome. Or I find out that there is not sufficient evidence for any of these things, including the thing that I was thinking that was true, in which case, hold on to none of them. Just be like, hey, I don't know. That's a healthy place to be in. But to cling on to anything that you don't know if it's true or not, or does not have sufficient evidence, is dangerous, right? That's delusion. That's disconnection from reality. That's a psychotic break. Literally, your mind is like chopped off from reality because you're choosing to cling to things that are not true. So why do we do that? Fear. So that's where most religious belief comes in, let's be honest. A lot of political belief, where people are insecure. They're scared of what if this isn't true. They don't actually believe this thing to be true, because if they did, they would be willing to consider alternatives, knowing that if it's true, they would come back to the truth. They don't actually believe in this thing. They're just scared of, like, what if this isn't true? And so they cling to this belief at all costs, and anything that is potentially contradictory is taken as a personal attack on them rather than on the belief. So that's essentially why I believe nothing is sacred in the sense of being unquestionable. Everything can, should, and must be questioned. Or, in this case, like I was saying, my logic that I used to determine that a world without objective truth could not exist, I'm at least aware that I haven't taken the time to question that. And that's also very, very important, because maybe I'm wrong. And I need to be aware that maybe I could be wrong. Because if I'm not aware of that potential, then I'm going to cling to that. And that's not healthy, right? That's going to cause me to, well, possibly be detached from reality. Like, maybe this thing is true, in which case there's no need to cling to it. I'm wasting all my energy holding on so tightly. Just relax. If it's true, it's true. You don't need to hold on to this thing. If it's not true, clinging on is a bad thing. Like, you don't want lies festering away in your brain, right? So relax. It's going to be okay. So take care. And question everything.